There are some huge differences between Spain and Germany that you should know if you're considering them as potential host countries. Hey guys, it's Graham with AuPairWorld, and in today's video I am going to be comparing Spain versus Germany, which is the best country to be an au pair. Just as a side note, I have a cold right now, so I sound really funny, but that is not going to stop me from making this video, which I'm so excited to tell you guys about because there are some huge differences between Spain and Germany that you should know if you're considering them as potential host countries. That being said, let's jump right into the video. A disclaimer before I jump into the content of the video. I have spent significantly more time in Spain as an au pair than I have in Germany. So a lot of the things that I'm including about Germany are secondhand knowledge from au pairs that I've talked to here, or just from the few things that I have picked up during my time here or research I've done. The vast majority of the information that I have about Spain is firsthand. It is my lived experience in Spain, so the information might be a little different, but I'm very confident that you are going to find these fascinating. Make sure to let us know down in the comments whether you are an au pair, whether you're researching into becoming an au pair, or whether you're just curious to watch the video. It goes without saying that Spain and Germany are perhaps two of the most iconic au pair destinations in the entire world. Not only are Spain and Germany iconic for au pairs, but it's also a classic Erasmus or study abroad destination, and generally there's lots of foreigners and foreign opportunities in both countries, with the au pair program being no exception. Of course, I don't know your situation, I don't know which is best for you, so in this video I'm just gonna lay out the facts and let you pick which country is best for you, and make sure to let us know which one you think is best for you at the end of the video. So hang in there and let me know. In order to fairly break down this video, I've divided the content into several different categories, being cost of living, the weather/climate, transportation, and opportunities to stay in the host country after your au pair year. So that being said, let's jump into the first one, which is the cost of living between Spain and Germany. As an au pair, obviously you are skipping out on some of the most expensive aspects of living in the country, like paying rent or paying a mortgage or paying any sort of really bill, but you're still going to be eating some of the cost of living as a result of living in that country. If you're coming from Northern Europe or perhaps even some bigger cities in Central Europe, Germany is probably going to be comparable and or slightly cheaper than your country. But if you're coming from Southern Europe, say Spain, France, Italy, or if you're coming from the US like me, Germany is way more expensive than what you're used to. Spain, in comparison, has much cheaper goods and services than Germany does. I'll give you some examples. If you go out to a restaurant with some friends or go out to get a drink, in Germany, or at least here in Munich, you're looking to be paying a minimum of say 4 euros for a beer, whereas in Spain, that would cost around 2 euros. If you want to get a coffee and a pastry after language class, here in Munich, that's going to cost you, I would say, anywhere from 6 to 8 euros, where that same coffee and pastry, which arguably is a bit better, would cost maybe 3 to 5 in Spain. And the most striking difference for me, which I'm going to talk more about in a couple of points, is the public transit system. When I was an au pair in Madrid, my host family paid 20 euros a month, and that got me all around the community of Madrid. I'm not just talking about the city of Madrid, I'm talking about the entire state in Spain. This is a really big state, and it got me around the entire community, every bus, every subway, every train for 20 euros a month. Here in Munich, I live about 15 minutes on the S-Bahn away from the city center. For me to go round trip from my village to the city center cost 3 euros and 20 cents. So if I do that trip 5 times a week, which is, I would say, the minimum amount if you're going to language classes and or hanging out with friends, that's gonna come out to 64 euros a month. And that's just the S-Bahn. That's not trains or buses. That is just the S-Bahn, the above ground train. Needless to say, public transit here is so much more expensive than in Spain. Every part of Spain that I have been to is cheaper than the public transit system here in Germany, and arguably more reliable. The next comparison is going to be the weather and the climate. Germany and Spain are both famous for their weather and climate, but for different reasons. Spain is notorious for having some of the most varied yet best weather in Europe. In the north of the country, it can often be very moderate, rainy and cloudy, whereas in the south, it's pleasant, hot and sunny year-round. Germany's known to be rainy. At least for my time in Munich, the weather is just kind of unpleasant, to be honest. It's either snowing or it's raining, and obviously I've never been here in the summer, nor have I been here in the spring, which I hear are both beautiful seasons. But right now in the fall and the winter months, the weather's just not that pleasant. The shortest day in Spain has about 9.5 or 10 hours of sunshine, depending on where you are in Spain. Whereas here, the shortest day, I think, has somewhere around 8 hours of sunshine. So the sun is coming up around 8 a.m. and the sun is setting around 4 p.m. I'll be honest with you guys, it's a bit of a buzzkill. The great thing about German weather is in the south of the country, there are loads of opportunities to go skiing or enjoy winter sports. If you're into skiing, some people here ski up until July in the Alps, so you would have plenty of time to go skiing or just to enjoy the beautiful snow, which there is plenty of. Being that Spain is a peninsula, there is a beach pretty much at every turn. Regardless of where you are in the country, you are no more than 5 hours by car away from the beach. When I was living in Madrid, it was an easy 2.5 hour train ride over to Valencia to go on the beach, or in Seville, it was a 1 hour train ride down to Cadiz to go to the beach. So there's always going to be opportunities to go to the beach, and there are opportunities to go skiing in Spain as well or enjoy more winter activities, but you do have to go a bit more out of the way, whereas here in Germany, they are much more accessible. The next comparison is going to be the transportation system. I touched on this a second ago talking about the price, but the transportation system in the two countries is relatively similar. In both Spain and Germany, the big cities have highly developed transportation systems. Here in Munich and other big cities like Hamburg and Berlin, there's no need to have a car. As I said a second ago, I live 15 minutes away from the city center on the S-Bahn. I can be at the main train station in about 12 minutes. I can be at the airport in about 45, all on the public transit system, and it is pretty reliable. Spain is pretty comparable, with the big cities having very developed public transit systems, and on top of that, they're quite affordable. In both countries, when you venture out into the more rural parts of the country, you might have a harder time finding reliable public transit, as most people who live in the more rural parts of the countries go by car. One thing I have greatly noticed is that domestic air travel in Spain is much cheaper than Germany. When I was living in Seville, I could easily find flights all around Spain for less than 50 euros round trip. That is not the case here in Germany. A flight from Munich to Hamburg is going to cost well over 100 euros. If you are a travel lover like myself, that is definitely something to take into consideration, as you are going to have to spend a bit more money if you're going by plane, or you'll have to wait longer if you're going to take the cheaper option to go by the train. Lastly, I think you're much more likely to drive in Germany. I rarely hear of au pairs driving in Spain. It's something that you just don't hear of. It's not very common. But here in Germany, I've met quite a lot of au pairs who have to drive as a part of their job, and you should be aware of that when you're applying for jobs, as it might be more difficult to find a job if you don't have a driver's license. I personally do not have to drive here, but if you're living, especially in a more rural part of the country, you should expect that to be a part of your job. The last comparison is the opportunities to stay in your host country after your au pair year. Hands down on this one, Germany beats Spain. While Spain is perhaps one of the most popular destinations to be an au pair or to study abroad, there's not that many opportunities to stay in Spain after your experience. The job market in Spain is notoriously, shall we say, lacking. Whereas here in Germany, there are plenty of jobs, and it's quite easy to find a way to stay in Germany after your au pair year. There are loads of programs, being university programs and other programs, that you can get into or change your visa into those programs with relative ease. If you are looking to make your au pair year a stepping stone for moving abroad, Germany would definitely have a higher appeal, as you can stay in Spain to study afterwards or to look for a job, but it's going to be, in my opinion, significantly more difficult than it would be here in Germany. Okay guys, the time has come. You have to let me know down in the comments which you think is better for you, Spain or Germany, and also let us know why. Thanks so much for watching this video, and if you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to AuPairWorld so you can keep up with all the new content that we make. Thanks so much, muchas gracias, y hasta luego. Bye bye.